Alrighty guys, it is Qaaman here today, and I'm bringing you another Yu Yu Hakusho segment on what if the younger Toguro actually killed Kuwabara during the Dark Tournament. And today's video request is from Phillipe Dos Santos. So in this video today, I will analyze three things: how Kuwabara's death would have affected the fight against Toguro, the future events of Yu Yu Hakusho, and how his death would have made an impact on the other characters in the series. So without wasting any more time, let's get straight into this video. So, let's first begin by talking about the fight against the younger Toguro. If Kuwabara was killed in an attempt to draw out Yusuke's power, then I think we can all safely and honestly say that there would be very few changes, if any at all, in the fight against Toguro. Yusuke would definitely kill Toguro with the same intentions, since he viewed Kuwabara as dead anyways. The only difference would be is Toguro himself. It's possible that if Toguro really did kill Kuwabara, then he would taunt Yusuke's friends more, and maybe Kurama would have joined in the fight if he wasn't aware of the secret due to his rage. But ultimately, Toguro would have been a dead man regardless. As far as Toguro's death is concerned, however, Qaaman would have had less concern for Toguro's wish to go to hell, or limbo, since he would have killed both Kuwabara and Genkai, which would have put Qaaman against Toguro even more. It is very likely that Qaaman would make an arrangement for Kuwabara to come back to life, but for the purpose of this video, let's analyze the scenarios that would have taken place if he were dead, since him being alive would have nearly identical results to what we saw in the series itself. Now, here is where everything gets interesting. When we look at the chapter Black Saga, one of the primary plots of the saga was to use Kuwabara's sword in order to slice through the Kakai barrier and to unleash hordes of demons to the human world. If Kuwabara was dead, this would be a very unlikely to impossible task to accomplish. If there was no Kuwabara, the plot would be very different. Let me start off by mentioning that the test that Genkai put on Yusuke and his gang would be very similar to what would have happened in the show even without Kuwabara. Next, the fight between Yusuke and Sensui would be very conventional. And conventional meaning Sensui would still try to make an attempt to unleash the demons from Demon World, and if he found a way to do so, and that's a big unknown way of how he would do so, then the fight between him and Yusuke would follow a similar path, but it would be a typical good guy versus bad guy type of fight. The big difference would be the fight itself. Number one, Seaman would have never joined Yusuke's group if it weren't for Kuwabara, which places pressure on Yusuke and his friends to get past him as an additional obstacle. The same goes for Sniper and Game Master, which would make it more difficult for Yusuke's team to try and defeat Sensui. But let's make the assumption that Yusuke and his friends would have found a way to get to Sensui regardless. Now, as Yusuke would eventually face Sensui himself, he would end up losing just like the Yusuke from the show did, and would be revived by Ryzen. Now, here is the big difference. If Sensui found a way to cut the dimensional gate open by himself, then Kurama and Hiei would follow him in there, assuming they were able to get past Itsuki's Yuratoku, which was cut open by Kuwabara in the series. My guess would be that Kurama would find a way to get past Itsuki's Yuratoku by using his intelligence in some way, but that's only my explanation for how they would get through it. In Sensui's case, if he could only pass through the Kakai barrier by himself using the sacred energy just like it took place in the anime and manga, then Kurama and Hiei would be unable to pass because they are A-class demons. Because of this, when Yusuke would be resurrected later on, he wouldn't be able to go into Demon World even if he was stronger than Sensui. Let me also mention that if Sensui was aware that Yusuke would become stronger than him, he could easily escape to Demon World as a last resort to dodge Yusuke. So overall, as far as the fighting goes, Sensui would have lived even with a possessed Yusuke. Kurama and Hiei would be stuck, but this all depends on whether or not Sensui cut open the Kakai barrier through another cause, or if he decided to try and lure them there. If he decided to stay and fight back, Kurama and Hiei would be killed, and Yusuke would be resurrected but would have a hard time killing Sensui, since Sensui could always escape. Keep in mind that Yusuke would have to deal with the Special Defense Force and possibly Enma Daiyao himself if he decided to go on a killing spree. So as you can see, these ifs all depend on three factors: Kurama and Hiei finding a way to get past Itsuki Jurotoku that held them captive, Sensui being able to cut the Kakai barrier open by himself, and Sensui deciding to stay and kill Hiei and Kurama over fleeing to Demon World. But overall, Sensui would most likely stay alive if Kuwabara died and stayed dead after the Dark Tournament. Keep in mind that he could also decide to destroy Yusuke's body when he was unconscious and when he was in the process of being resurrected by Raizen. If he had done this, this would eliminate Yusuke as a potential threat. But because of all of these events, however, there would be no Three Kings saga, because Yusuke, Kurama, and Hiei would have all most likely have been killed. Now, let me talk about the impact on other characters. Shizuru would be decimated by her little brother's death, and may even decide to become a fighter because of the fact that she has abnormal spirit awareness and great fighting potential. In the manga, since she was less involved and was replaced by Yusuke's mother Atsuko at major plot points, she would have just been severely depressed as well. Kurama and Hiei, both introverted characters, would quietly be depressed over Kuwabara's death. Kurama may have taken out his rage on Toguro if he was given the chance. Keiko, a good friend of Kuwabara, would have never developed a stronger friendship with him. Botan and Koenma would probably try their best to revive Kuwabara if they had the chance, and would probably succeed in doing so, but I'm stating the outcome if they hadn't, as mentioned before. In addition, Yukina, despite having no love interest in Kuwabara, would have never had the chance of developing a love interest with him if she changed her mind if Kuwabara was dead. Genkai would regret telling Toguro to kill Kuwabara in the form of poo in order to draw Yusuke's power if Kuwabara had actually died. And last but not least, Yusuke would have been a much more serious character. He probably would have never quit fighting if he managed to survive, and he would have killed Sensui alongside Hiei and Kurama as we see at the end of Yu Yu Hakusho if he survived during the chapter Black Saga. Yusuke would have always taken it upon himself to be stronger after that tragedy, since he would always feel guilty allowing his best friend to be killed. So guys, that has been my video for today. As far as this video goes, we can safely say that the main character, Yusuke, may have ended up dead in all likelihood if Toguro really did kill Kuwabara instead of it being an act. I look forward to doing more Yu Yu Hakusho topics that I can go in depth into just like this one. I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments about this video along with topics in the comment section below. So please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe, and remember, as I always say, to have a great day, guys.